Hello and welcome to another lesson. Thanks for joining. All right, we're going to take a look at this interesting little doohickey right here. This is called a capo, or my friends across the pond might call it a capo. Whatever you call it, this is a really useful tool. You want to get something like this. It's something that I'm going to explain some of the benefits behind why we use it, but there are so many reasons why you're going to want to use this, both when you're playing on your own and when you're playing along with recordings and playing with a band. A number of reasons why you would want to use a capo. All right, so if you don't already have one, it's okay. You can still watch this lesson and still learn a lot about it and how we're using it and why we're using it. But essentially, what we're doing when we're using a capo is we are making the neck shorter. So we're making the neck of your guitar shorter. Well, what happens if we place a capo on the first fret? It raises it a semitone or half of a tone. So now our open E is now an open F. So every time we go up one fret, we're going up a semitone or a half step. So there's another half step to the second fret, another half step to the third fret. And every time we do that, we're making the string shorter, which ends up raising the pitch. So here are a few reasons why this is really, really important, really good to use. Let's say you started playing and learning your favorite song. And you started singing it, you realize that, oh no, I've spent all this time learning the chords for this song. It sounds really good in the open position. But you start singing, if you are a singer, or even if you're not, let's say you have somebody else that is a singer that you want to be able to sing the song with, and you realize that the song is too low. So you can't play it with the chords that you've already learned. So what you would do is you would use a capo to raise the pitch of the song. So now, instead of playing it here, we're going to raise the pitch. So we're going to the second fret. To make it more singable if the song was too low for you. The other part that's really, really handy is anytime let's say you're playing in a band and the keyboardist says, oh guys, I really want to play this song in E flat. I've got a really nice sound. I've got some nice stuff that really works well, in E flat. And so on the guitar, you're thinking, okay, I've already learned it one way. How can I play it in E flat now? I can't. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You could then change and modulate so that you're playing bar chords, or you can take the chords that you've already learned, the chord progression, the exact same progression, and use your capo now so that you don't have to change any of the chords that you're playing. You just got to use your capo. Now all of a sudden you are playing in the key of E flat. So I'll use this as an example. Let's say we're playing the C chord. We're in the key of C right now. We're playing the C chord. And in that chord progression, I was just playing C, G, A minor, F. So let's say the keyboardist or someone else, the violinist, says, oh guys, I learned the song in E flat. I'd really like to do the song in E flat. And then everyone says, all right, let's do E flat. So now what we've got to do is, if we're in the key of C, we've got to get to E flat. So how are we going to do that? We've got to move up, shorten the neck of the guitar until this finger becomes an E flat. So right now I'm using this finger because this is our root note. That's our bass note for the C chord. Every time we move up this shape, it's getting higher and higher by a semitone. So if we go up one fret, that C now becomes a C sharp or a D flat. If we go up another semitone or half step, now this C becomes a D. If we go up another one, the C now becomes a D sharp or an E flat. Same thing. So this is a C chord that we're playing, but it's now an E flat. We're now in the key of E flat. So if we play those exact same chords, we didn't have to change any of the chords that we're playing. All we're doing now is just playing it a little bit higher using the capo, but now we're able to play it in the key of E flat because the keyboardist, the violinist, whoever wanted to play in the key of E flat. So here we go. We don't have to relearn any of the chords. So we've got C, G, A minor, F. We didn't change anything what we're playing here. All we've done was we've added the capo and moved it to the 3rd fret so that now we're playing in a different key, so we could play with the band or so that the singer could sing it so that it fit his or her voice. So now we've got the C, if you're in the key of E flat, is now an E flat chord. So even though the shape of your hand is playing a C shape, it's actually an E flat that you're playing. Everyone else will play an E flat. You'll do the shape of a C, but because we've changed the length of the neck of the guitar, this is now you're playing different notes. Even though your shape is exactly like a C shape, because we're playing it on a different part of the neck, it's a different chord altogether. So it's an E flat chord. This G now becomes a B flat. This A minor now becomes a C minor. And this F now becomes an A flat. All right, so don't get too hung up on the theory here. I know we've kind of went over it pretty quickly, but the idea is I'm showing you sort of the benefits to why you would want to use a capo. If you've got a singer you don't want to change any of the chords that you're playing, you just throw a capo on. Or you want to play with the band and not change the way that you've been playing it, use a capo to do that. It's also just really, really nice to just play different parts on the guitar. So those are just things that when you've got a capo, now I've got my capo up on the 6th fret, you can just play some different things that you couldn't do without a capo. There are just things that you can't do because you got to let those open strings ring out. You can't do that all the time with bar chords. It also gives your hand a bit of a break if you are used to playing lots of bar chords. Now bar chords, it doesn't get you out of playing bar chords because you still need to play bar chords. It's still really important. But what it does is it changes the sound. So let's say you don't want the bar chord kind of clunky sound. Well, now you can use a capo just to really open it up and let the strings resonate, let the strings ring out. So it's really good for that as well. Another exciting benefit to using the capo is, let's say you're playing and jamming with another guitarist, and one guitarist is playing E to A. Well, if you don't want to play the exact same thing as the other guitarist, but you want to kind of add a little bit of color, you want to spread out the sound a little bit, you don't have to play the E and the A. Back here, you can now use a capo to find the E chord using different shapes. So now I'm playing the E chord using the C shape, and then the F chord, which ends up being an A chord. So you can use it to play along with other guitarists, but you have to use there is some theory involved in terms of knowing how to find different chords all along the neck. And that's for another lesson, for another time. I just wanted to highlight some of the benefits of using a capo. I love it. The best guitarists in the world are using capos, and they're using it because you can just do so much with them. There are so many sounds and so many benefits to using them. That's why you see some of the best in the world using capos or capos. All right, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. We'll go into some more theory in another lesson. We can talk about how to find different chords along the neck of the guitar, but that is for another lesson for another time. All right, we'll see you very soon.